So, hey, everybody. This is Ramon from the Millennial Dreamer, and I am live with Miss Desiree Mondesir, and I'm super excited to have her on the show today. She is an incredible blogger, entrepreneur, and thought leader, and I want to present and talk to her about some things in regards to blogging. I'm super excited to have you on the show. How are you today, Desiree?
I am doing great, especially now.
If you guys don't know, we have literally tried for the last hour to get a video platform to work, and Blab seems to be the place to go. So this is our first time using Blab, but I definitely know it won't be our last time using it because we have a lot of great content to share and a lot of great things to talk about, right? So just to give you a little bit about Desiree, she is an author, speaker, blogger, entrepreneur, and just all around awesome girl. She has literally been featured on incredible platforms like Gospel Today, as well as a lot of other platforms as well. She also has a website, DesireeMondesir.com. That's DesireeMondesir.com. I'm going to type in that at the bottom right here so that you guys can see.
DesireeMondesir.com.
DesireeMondesir.com. I'm going to type that link so everyone can see it who's on here. But I want to make sure everyone can see her website and to check it out. So I just want to ask you some questions, Ms. Desiree. And I just first of all want to know, kind of tell me a little bit about what you do in your words and kind of how you got started.
Oh, well, it'd probably be easier to start with how I got started doing what I'm doing. But I am a blogpreneur. I know we'll talk about that a little bit later. But how did I get started? Well, I got started like a lot of book nerds. I was reading voraciously as a child. And so I love to read, the American Girl books, Anne of Green Gables, which I'm currently reading now for the umpteenth time. Started penning my first fairy tale around, I don't know, summer of 5th grade, and it was called Firebird. And so I've just always been writing and dreaming for pretty much writing and dreaming and reading for as long as I can remember. And so it seemed like a natural course to study English literature at Oral Roberts University, where I met Ramon. And I'm so happy to have met him there and met some great people there. And, after that, I just continued my writing. In around 2010, a couple friends suggested that I start my own freelancing company. So I started Desired Assistance, a virtual writing and editing company. And I worked on lots of different projects, including press releases, bios, and especially manuscript edits, primarily with Christian authors and Christian ministers. And so I still do that from time to time on a project-to-project basis when I'm happy to do the project. And from in about 2012, I really started hunkering down in the blogging department. I'd been sort of blogging here and there before that. You could probably pull up, josephDesiree.blogspot.com. I haven't even looked it up for years, but I used to just blog sort of as a online journal there, but I wanted to start doing it in a professional context. So in January 2012, I launched a wedding blog, and originally I launched it as just an extension of my writing to create an online wedding portfolio to say, hey, wedding and event future clients, I can write for you. But it actually turned out to be a beautiful monster, as I call it, of its own. And my blog actually won some awards in the wedding experts industry awards, I believe it is. So I won one 2 years in a row, and I used to host a guest blog campaign every March. And so I did that for a couple of years, and I loved it. I still love weddings, but I wanted to speak more to the entrepreneurial community. So then I set up another blog, which was called DA Inspires. And you can actually see that at dainspires.wordpress.com. And I forgot to mention the other blog that was DA Weddings, .wordpress.com. But you could see that there. And that was more of an entrepreneurial leaning with a definite faith edge. And eventually I was like, you know what, I just need my own website, not a WordPress.com. Not that there's anything wrong with that, you know, but I wanted my own website under my own name so I could talk about whatever I wanted to. And eventually I set up DesireeandMondesir.com, as you guys saw the link to, and I was all over the place when I first started that blog. I was blogging about writing, poetry, business, and Jesus, just like whatever I felt like blogging about. And I had this fabulous testimonial from my big bro, Paul Carrick Brunson. You guys know him. He's like the real life Hitch, you know, and I had it emblazoned on the top of my website, sort of like he had his testimonial from Oprah on the top of his website. And I sort of modeled my site after his because I thought his was set up really well. But as I just continued on with my content, I was like, there's just way too much going on. I'm all over the place, and people probably didn't really know what to get from me. So I was like, what are people really responding to? What am I enjoying writing about the most? And that was Jesus, specifically more spiritual warfare items. You know, somebody called me the Jezebel lady. They weren't calling me a Jezebel, but saying, you know, if you want to learn about the spirit, go look up Desiree Mondesir, you know, and find out about her content. And so I just became consistent in my content, dealing with spiritual warfare, dealing with false doctrines and cults, and just really the deep things of God. And so soon people in my circle began to take notice, and then people outside of that circle began to take notice. And now I have perfect strangers from halfway around the world reaching out to me, telling me they found me after they Googled the spirit of Jezebel after they had a dream about her, you know, and this from someone in Austria, you know. And so I've my reach, I mean, it's not what it will be, but it's certainly growing. The traffic is growing, and I'm very excited because I was consistent. And so I've established myself as a thought leader in that department. I have 9 books now. They're all ebooks, 3 of which are in print. Some of those latest titles include The Days of Noah and Lot, How I Fell Prey to Jezebel, Deborah, the Ultimate Jezebel Preventative, and The Origin of Demons, and several other topics. And so I've just really been consistent with the content. And again, as Ramon said, you know, I did work at Gospel Today for a while. I was the managing editor, and I had a wonderful time there. It was a wonderful opportunity to meet a lot of individuals and further sort of narrow my content, if you will. I write for the Gospel Herald. I've been featured in YFS, which is Young, Fabulous, and Self-Employed. But people started reaching out to me saying, hey, can you help me with my blog? And I was like, I write about spiritual warfare. Why do you want me to help you set up a blog? Yeah. But so many people were reaching out to me, and I was like, you know, I have to do something about this, and I have to stop doing it for free. Yeah. So because I was doing 1-by-1 consultations with people, sort of helping them just for free. Yeah. And so I created Blogpreneur 101, which is a faith-based hands-on masterclass for all those serious about blogging. And it's for aspiring bloggers, it's for new bloggers and established bloggers who know there's more. And I started it this year in 2016. I had the first module in January, and then another one in April. We're gearing up to have another one at the end of this month on July 25th and 26th, and I'll do another one before the year is out. But it's been a really wonderful opportunity to help individuals figure out what their blogging niches and avoid all of the mistakes that I made, you know, really focusing things and narrowing down and counting up the costs before they just invest their time and energy and resources in a blog they might walk away from, you know, because they're not focused on what they're doing. So that's what I do in a nutshell.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. So a lot of people, especially millennials, one of the things that I like to focus on is really helping millennials pursue their dreams and really kind of giving them a concrete plan on how to pursue their writing dreams or their travel dreams or their business dreams or their career dreams. And a lot of millennials are getting into blogging, and like you, a lot of people are multi-passionate. They have a lot of ideas. They have a lot of things they want to do, but it's very difficult for us as millennials to narrow down one specific thing that we want to become a thought leader in. How did you what process did you use to try to narrow down that this is what you want to become known for?
Well, for me, it was a lot of trial and error. I didn't wake up one day and decide, I want to be a thought leader on spiritual warfare. A lot of it was more ordered. We were faith-based entrepreneurs. So for us, that, goes back to scripture. And, the Bible says the steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord. Yeah. So a lot of times we don't know what we're doing. Yeah. We just plunge out there in the deep and, we find out, focusing and narrowing, and we get to the point where we are able to write the vision and make it plain, so to speak. So for me, it was just, again, really assessing, what am I really good at, and what are people responding most to, and then just being consistent in that. And of course, these are topics that I've been researching my whole life. Yeah. I mean, I was reading Rebecca Brown books when I was like 10 years old. I'm not recommending that even for an adult. Yeah. But I mean, that's what I was doing, just to show sort of my background and my interest in that. I've been in the church my whole life, and that's not to say that there's not a time and a place for those other interests, because I believe that there will be at some point in the future. But I believe it's kind of like the Proverbs 31 woman. She was able to do everything she did because there were different seasons in her life. And so in different seasons, you have to focus on what God has before you at that point in time, so you can maximize the time he's given you here on earth. Wow. And so that's just what I've been trying to do.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. Okay. So I'm a millennial, and I'm just going to put myself in a situation that I hear a lot of with my clients. And I found something that I'm good at. Like, I'm good at pottery, or I'm good at singing, or I'm good at speaking, or I'm good at a lot of things. Right. And there's a lot of things that I find that I'm good at. And, but, blogging, from what I understand from you, it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of consistency. So as a millennial, how do I, once I've identified something that I'm good at, something that I'm passionate about, give me some practical steps that I can do to really begin to create a platform in my content or with my blog to really begin to build that? Kind of tell me a little bit about kind of how you bring, or how do you teach people to do that?
Right. Well, I definitely go in depth into this in my Blogpreneur Masterclass, but the heaviest part of that course deals with not just your passion, but your purpose. So you really have to find out what your specific purpose is, because your purpose and your passion are going to intersect to create a mission.
Wow.
And so that's what I teach, and I use scripture as an example. Jesus was passionate about certain things, but he was also purposed to certain things. And because of that, you see the different missions he was sent to fulfill. And so for me, I'm a writer, I'm a reader as well, and I do think that is a valid, category. Yeah. Readers, we need more readers. Readers are leaders. Yeah. But you have to really sort of look, okay, why am I here? Yeah. Why did God put you on this earth? And maybe it was to create pottery. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can do something that nobody else can do. And even if somebody is doing what you're doing, you can do it in a way that they can't. And I'll just be honest, when I was setting up Blogpreneur, the thought for it was in the works a lot longer than when I actually put it to work and put it together, so to speak. There are 2 other programs out there called Blogpreneur. Yeah. Now, not at the time, mine I think was actually first, but they probably cover things I don't cover, and I know I cover things that they don't cover, and I certainly cover them in a way that they don't cover. Yeah. So there's absolutely a niche for you. If you see somebody out there doing what you're doing, fine. That means there's an audience for it. That means there's a demographic. So don't let that scare you, but just really take the time prayerfully, if you're a believer, ask God to show you what is your vision and what is your purpose. How do those intersect so you can create that mission for your life? And for me, I have it written down here, and you can see it emblazoned on my website. And this is sort of what helps me narrow what I do on my blog. I'm sorry, I'm looking through my notes on my phone. Okay, here's the mission statement on my website. It says, embracing the truth of the word, providing tools for effective spiritual warfare and challenging spiritually toxic mindsets. And it took me a while to create that and then to narrow it down, but I was able to do that. So just write it down. Start writing down what you feel like your purpose here on earth is. Start writing down things you're passionate about, because those are not random, and then if they're positive, the purpose and passions you have from God are always going to be positive. They're always going to be beneficial to you and the people around you. So if they're not, you can rest assured that that's not what your purpose is.
Yeah.
So focus on that, because whatever it is, if it's just going to make somebody else's day a little bit brighter on whatever scale, do that. And then once you actually are getting to the technical side of things, think, how much time do I have to put into a blog per week? How long do my blog posts need to be? Who is my demographic? Who am I trying to speak to? Who's my ideal client or reader? Think along those lines and then write to that audience. Now, people know that I'm a little bit long-winded, as you can probably tell, and they expect that from me on my blog, though. They're willing to read because they know there's layer after layer after layer that I'm going to be dealing with.
Yeah.
Well, maybe your demographic is not like that. So you can't write 1,000, 2,000 words, because they're not going to stick around and read that unless it's an ebook.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to be mindful of your specific demographic, and you have to cater to that demographic without sacrificing, who you are and what you're supposed to be discussing. And think about that. If you need to start off with a WordPress.com blog because you're still feeling it out, and that's a great way to start a blog, a wonderful blog that goes to the top of the search engines, by the way. Great company, beautiful templates, so if you're not ready to commit financially, that's a great way to go. Blogspot, I'm biased. So I prefer WordPress.com, and that would probably be the second free blog, so to speak. A lot of time, the other websites look free, and you get what you pay for a lot of times in those instances. So if you're just non-committal yet, if you're not completely sure, start off that way. And if you just want to continue to own your interest and your purpose, then do it that way. If you want to set up a blog, then start researching. I highly recommend Bluehost. You can go to my website. They're like the best hosting company. All the greats use it, recommend it. I have a Squarespace website, and I still recommend Bluehost. When I like Squarespace a lot because it's very attractive. And so you have to pay attention to all the technical side. And again, we go into this in great detail in my Blogpreneur 101 program. But really, it just goes back to writing down your specific vision, making it plain, and really thinking, what do I have in time, energy, and resources and ability? Do you already have articles and blogs that you've written, maybe pieces you haven't published or have published that you can sort of repurpose and use to start up a blog? Just think about what you have in your arsenal already, and then use that to your advantage.
Okay. So I've been blogging for 6 months. Here's in the scenario, or I've been blogging for a year. And I started and I stopped it, and I started and I stopped it, and I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing with this. I'm just writing stuff when I feel like it. What do I need to know as a millennial? Tell me, what do I need to know in order to really take my blog from being a hobby to a platform? Kind of give me some advice on how do I make it something serious versus just something that I do as a hobby?
You have to be consistent.
Okay.
You have to be consistent.
Okay.
Because you're not going to build a consistent audience and a consistent platform if you're not putting out consistent content. And I mean, maybe consistent for you is once a month. I don't know, maybe it's once a week, but whatever you do, be consistent to where people know, okay, they have an idea, this is what I'm getting from this particular individual. And so, because you're not, unless, you're a star child or something, you're not going to hit the traffic jackpot overnight. So you have to be consistent, because you never know what that one blog piece is that's just going to catch the right person's eye, and somebody famous is going to share it. And that's happened to me before multiple times. Or maybe somebody is going to have something horrible to say about it, but it's going to attract a lot of good people to say, let me check out what what she's saying and see if she's really crazy.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be consistent because there are just things factored into that that you'll never be able to account for or pay for if you're not being consistent. Try to stick with similar content. Don't be all over the place. You know, just maybe you just need to set aside time to write.
Yeah.
So you are consistent. You just write in advance. You know, if you're not someone who likes to write off the cuff, or if you don't have time to write off the cuff,
Yeah.
you know,
Awesome.
you have to find what works for you, for your schedule. If you're a mom, right when your kids are asleep at night, you know, or if you're a night owl like me, right in the middle of the night. If you're an early morning person, then, you know, right early in the morning. You know, you just have to find what works for you, but you have to be consistent. Otherwise, your platform isn't going to go anywhere and people aren't going to take you seriously.
Okay. I love it. I love it. So, you've been blogging for a long time and you've kind of created all of these blogs. Tell me the benefit of having multiple blogs. What's some of the pros and cons of having multiple blogs, and when should you create another blog for a different topic?
Well, I couldn't talk about deep spiritual matters when I was blogging about wedding dresses.
Okay.
So that was a huge indicator. And then even with DA Inspires, it was a good blog, but I still wanted to do more. I needed to focus and narrow more. And eventually, I personally believe in branding your name. And there's nothing wrong with branding something else. But again, if your interest does change or the name of your company changes, you know, people are still going to be able to go back to you and know you are the brand, whatever happens. So those are the things that were important to me. And I don't mind leaving the blogs up because I still think they're nice, but I put all of my effort into Desiree and Mondesir.com. I don't even really pay attention to the other ones.
So you believe should you use your name when you're branding yourself as your first blog? Like, how did you decide to do this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, unless your name is just really difficult to spell.
Okay.
You know, and mine's probably toying with that line, but or if it's just really common, you know, then I would maybe look at finding a way to jazz it up, or, you know, maybe going with a different brand name. But as often as possible, I like to say brand with your name. Your name is your brand. You are your brand. That's my thing.
Okay. I love it. And so just so I can understand, you start different blogs when you're ready to talk about different subjects. And so whenever you want to talk about a certain theme, that's when you're wanting to start a new blog. Is that what you're saying?
Honestly, what I'm saying and what I teach in Blogpreneur is to get everything out of your system, figure everything out first.
Gotcha.
So you don't have multiple blogs.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So you start off in one place just with everything you got. And then once you find something, you can create a blog based on that.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
You just, you don't want to be all over the place, and you don't want to have, like, I don't want you to be like me with a gazillion blogs out there.
Okay. You want one blog.
You know,
okay.
Don't do what I did.
Okay. Okay. So what are some, like, for beginning blogger, one of the biggest things that really create momentum and the kind of the success that you were talking about was traffic. And, you know, one of the biggest struggles that I find with people who are trying to start a blog and they've been doing it for 6 months is building that traffic. What are some tips you would give about increasing traffic to your blog?
Again, consistency.
Okay.
Absolutely consistency. But utilize scheduling websites such as Hootsuite. I use Hootsuite all the time to schedule my posts, you know, and I try not to do too many posts a day. Usually I'll do maybe 2 or 3 posts a day and have them go out on my various social media accounts. So that way you don't have to put in, you know, post the items yourself throughout the day, because we all have things we could be doing instead of posting. Blogs, just take some time out of your week or your month and just schedule your items. And then again, that will show consistency in your brand, and you just have to stick it out. Honestly, like, some of it is just good old-fashioned hard work and perseverance, just sticking it out.
Awesome. Okay. Now, so you're consistent with your blog, you have your, you know, your monthly or your weekly topics and things like that. Would you say that it's better to create products at the very beginning of your blog, or should you blog for a while before you start creating products and services like ebooks and things like that around your blog? At what point did you decide, man, I need to write a book, or I need to create this?
You know, I published my first ebook, Godly Government, on election day in 2012. And I did that on purpose because of the title.
Okay.
And so that was a very rushed project, but that was actually at the behest of the publisher of a magazine I was writing for. She was encouraging all of us to write ebooks and publish them through her outlet at that point in time. So I don't think I had at the time any serious designs in the near future on writing a book along those lines, but that was definitely the first one. And it actually was from, now that I think about it, a manuscript I was working on that is not yet published. It was part of a chapter and then some other items that I created and added to that. It depends on where you are. Yeah. Because if you already have content and products and you're coming in, like, I don't know what level you're at. You know, so if you have that, you don't want to like stop promoting that. But at the same time, a lot of your blog content could be repurposed into an ebook or, you know, a print book, or you could expound upon it, or you could co-write a book, you know, or something else. It depends on where you are, but I don't think you can really go wrong with just creating content as it comes to you, ebook content and print book content, or podcasts, you know, whatever your products are.
Yeah. A lot of my audience, they're wanting to start blogs, but they understand creating content, but they don't understand like how do blogs make money. Could you kind of give an overview on some basics on? I know you go really in detail in your training, but just in general, what are some basic ways that people can generate income through blogging?
Well, again, if you are able to start creating books, that's one stream of content, you know, with the royalties from that. If you start getting speaking engagements because you're establishing yourself as a thought leader in that department, that's one opportunity. You can start consulting on whatever topics you deal with. That's another stream. You know, there are various ways. I mean, maybe you'll launch a business from it, or vice versa. Again, I'm not sure where you're coming from, but there are different ways you can utilize that to further and monetize your platform. And then maybe someone will want to advertise with you. You know, or set up your own advertising system.
That's awesome. I have a student who she actually blogged about a particular kind of complication she had in pregnancy. And she had a doctor actually find her blog post, and she paid her $500 just to use that one blog post in the speaking that she was going to do.
Wow.
And that was pretty awesome, right? And then I've had other students, they basically blogged on a consistent basis, and just through Google ads or things like that, they've generated revenue. So I definitely completely agree. Okay. Well, so tell us a little bit about Blogpreneur. I know you've been mentioning all throughout the show, but tell us a little bit more about it and what can people expect from it.
Yes. Well, again, we're launching the next masterclass July 25th and 26th. And what it is a masterclass. It's sort of close-knit. It is in a teleseminar format for the time being. It will be revamped in the very near future, but you'll get an 80-plus page workbook that, yes, I wrote by myself. And of the different sections or the different chapters that we'll be dealing with, 7 different lessons. And again, we hit purpose and passion and mission very strongly. Yes, we do deal with the technical side of blogging, you know, which route you should take, you know, what do you have the resources and the time and energy for at the time being? How do you avoid burnout when it comes to your blog, you know, or deal with it? You know, are you dealing with burnout, or is it actually a loss of interest? Do you need to change things in the blogging department? You know, and again, talking about how do we maximize your platform with the ebooks, with the podcasts, with the different, you know, guest blogging and guest authoring and different things like that. We go into all of that. And I've gotten some really great feedback from those who've gone through the course, you know, just how it's really confronted the mindset that they had and how their minds really weren't in the right place to start a blog before they took Blogpreneur, but now it is. You know, I had one client, she went through my first module in January, and she's done her first makeup workshop. She's training other people to be makeup artists, and so I was just so proud of her. You know, and they're really able to set up successful blogs. Now, I have a girlfriend who went through the April module, and she now has not one, but 2 successful real estate blogs.
Wow.
And so if you utilize it, you know, it'll certainly help you, you know, and be able to, and again, at any stage you're at, because some people are like, I want to blog, but it's so overwhelming. Yeah. I try to remove the overwhelm from you instead of you having to go out and research everything. Like I had to on my own, because I didn't go to college for this. Yeah. You know, nobody helped me with this. I had to go online and figure everything out myself. I had to buy Michael Hyatt's platform book and read that for myself. And I highly recommend that to everybody. You know, so I'm sort of I'm shortening the learning curve. Yeah. So you don't have to go through the trial and error mistakes that I had to go through.
Yeah. Pretty awesome. Well, where can people sign up at?
Please go to Desiree.com and you'll see the welcome page that, you know, gives you the option to go directly to the Blogpreneur page and sign up. And there are self-study versions if you can't make it to the live class. There's a digital version, which is basically everything everyone in the live class gets. And then there's just a print book version if you just want to go through a workbook on your own time. But go to Desiree.com, and again, I'll spell that DesiremMondesir.com, and sign up and let me know what you're looking forward to in the class, and then tell someone else. I'd be happy to have you all in the course.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Desiree. I really appreciate all of your hard work and your time, and for finally us getting together and doing this. This is definitely won't be the last time we do this, because we have a lot more to learn and a lot more to do. I hope you have an awesome evening. Thank you guys for joining us, and we hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day.